So, in the previous episode, we explored how Brahman, Brahm is Vak and Vak is Brahm. And I also spoke about how language saturates us and we start seeing our world by what it informs us about ourselves and the world. I gave an example of Sigmund Freud. I said that prior to his arrival, people experience their own sexuality in Victorian terms. And Freud redefined what human sexuality is in terms of phallus complex, in terms of Oedipus complex, in terms of Electra complex, and various complex, by using the same coordinate system that Descartes had invented, which Newton used to position and launch his calculus. So, using the coordinate system, you can precisely say that an object or whatever has moved from point A to point B, and you can calculate it. So, it's a coordinate system which tells you where a thing exists and what is the movement of it and how much time it takes. This was the birth of modern physics. Descartes also divided human consciousness, mind, and the world, the objective world. So the world was divided between subjective and objective. Freud used the same coordinate system to define a subjective consciousness based world. So you can position a system which he, according to him, is what we call normal, and any deviation or variation from that normality can be mapped, tracked, measured, object, like you could measure an physical object moving from point A to point B, and how you can solve issues, psychological issues born from problems related to human sexuality. So according to him, everything in man derives from distortions arising from human sexuality, including desire. So we are desiring machines. Desire and sex are same, according to him. So what happens is that you had a Victorian sense of morality and seeing things and how you experience your own sexuality in the Victorian age. And once he redefines sexuality, that idea of sexuality seeps into you through language. Naturally, he writes a book. It seeps into you through language. And over time, you start seeing your own sexuality and the world and the things around based on it. I also spoke that don't underestimate the power of language. All these things, Quran, Bible, and the rest of the religious texts in various religion. You don't need me to define what it does to you. But there is so nirvana, moksha, redemption, post-mortem life, what happens after you die, what happens to you, which basically says there is a soul and you suffer if you don't follow the text as been revealed by the messenger of God. In our own outlook, we have moksha, we have nirvana, we have keval, you have various forms of liberation, freedom, but they are all defined through language. Whatever stories we read, we hear, we are born in a linguistic defined world. That language seeps into us, saturates us, and we start seeing the world accordingly. So in that world, there is something called sannyas, there is something called moksha, there is something called liberation, there is something called yoga, there is something called guru, teacher. So have you ever thought that what you're pursuing, what you're going after, what you're running after may just be an idea, a story. But because the way language saturates you, you experience the world. You experience the world through it. I spoke about some of the experience I had in the forest. And in an instant, I realize that the isness of existence, and that the whole universe, the totality, puri kainat, Brahm, is experiencing its own being through you, through all of us, including the plants, including the animal, including us. Every living creature is experiencing the is of existence. This is defined as consciousness, which limits because consciousness today is taken to be very subjective. There's a lot of debate that consciousness is prior or materialism is prior. None of it. Brahm is neither like consciousness, neither like matter. It is undescribable. It's not that consciousness comes first and then the material objects show up. Or the oceans come first and the fish shows up. Or the sky comes first and the clouds show up. The sky certainly has to be there before the clouds can appear. So to understand Brahm, you have to is let's put it this way. Is there a method? Is there a formula? Is there a way? Is there something by which you can notice? There is none. You know when you know. It just happens. And that changes everything. The whole way we look at things, the way we experience things. I gave an example that about tree, that the tree is not the roots, it is not the trunk, it is not the branches, it is not the leaves, it is not the fruit. It is the ground, the earth, the sky, the air, the rain, the water, the nutritions, the universe. It's embedded within it. A tree, a stone, a mountain, you, others, animals, are the expression. They find their being within Brahm. And Brahm is almost indescribable in language. But shift occurs within language. And all of a sudden, you see the tree, you see the rivers, you see the air as an extension of your own body, your own being. This totality, Poon, that's the body of Brahma. Why objects, rivers, mountains, trees, clouds, stars, planets show up in the way they do? Nobody knows. It's beyond speech. That is why in Vedanta it is expressed as non-speech. Non-speech does not mean silence. Vachan, vak means speech. Avachan, avak. It is vak also. Language is consciousness. Take away language and consciousness will cease. But it's not the language like what we speak. It is very well described in Vedanta. That we don't know the state of Pashyanti. before a thought becomes a thought. It needs this background, just like the cloud needs the background of the sky to be a cloud. The final speech, like what I am talking to you, is the end result, but it does not, there is no way it can tell you about its origin. Because its origin is everywhere. The body that speaks is the body of Brahm. Brahm and Vak are one. And we are all the speech of Brahm. In the Vedas and the Upanishads, Vedanta, there's a reason why Vak is used rather than Chit or consciousness. Because by the introduction of some magical, mystical thing like consciousness, invokes all kind of nonsense. You hear every day tantric speaking about powers, siddhis, teleportation, mind reading. And they keep speaking it from 1,000 years, and we lived in 1,000 years of slavery. Where the siddhas? And there's a lot of stories about why they allowed it. We used to talk about Chiranjeevis. And nothing can survive death. This is a beautiful world. Stop about thinking about death and start experiencing life in its fullness. We repeat Mahamrityunjay mantra. Try to understand what it is. What Triambak means, the three eye. What are the three eyes? What Amrit means. Amrit is related to the body. And it says, let me fall like a ripe fruit. But what is this body? What is this three eyes? The eye is in the Upanishad related to this mantra. It is said, the Purusha of the sun, the Purusha of the moon, the Purusha of the fire. That Purusha you are. But that Purusha is not just consciousness. It is the totality experiencing itself. And you have to reclaim your body, because you are that body. You are the rivers, you are the air, you are the minerals, ground, plants, rain, stars, sun, and moon. You have to reclaim the rivers. You have to reclaim the air. Just like your lungs depends on the air. Your body, your blood depends on water. Every day you eat food, your body is rebuilt cell by cell. Every few weeks, your heart, your brain dies and is regenerated by food. You are not separate from that. More importantly, when we speak about awakening, when we speak about enlightenment, you are the very totality experiencing the world in which everything exists, in which everything has its being, in which everything perishes. You are that. I suggest those who have come this far should go and watch my previous episode. Know yourself. I would say know your body. आपका शरीर क्या है जानिए. You are Brahm. And the shift in language which occurs after you realize that this tree is you, this muddy river is you, this polluted air is you. This preparation to mine and hollow moon is you. There is language which saturates you, the dismembering form of language which we call avidya. And there is vidya. Vidya and language and knowledge are not something separate, but it is not something that can be taught. Just like when you see somebody else from some other religion, it's good to give an example of Islam and Christianity because they are just opposite of you. But the way the language saturates your body, you experience the world as the language informs you. You really experience angels, jinns. You want to believe in them. You may even see them. The same is true in modern form. You see flying saucers, aliens. You really, somebody who's into this will really experience the world in those terms. And you are experiencing the world as moksha, nirvana, sannyas, kaivalya. This is the path of the householder. That is the path of liberation. This is the Buddhist Sangha. These are the formula and steps to achieve nirvana. Everything is suffering. Get out of it. Escape it. Escape where? Who is trying to escape? And what? So when the turning happens, the turning is like an instant flash. It's like you experience your own body for the first time. Then your eyes sees as it's supposed to see. Eyes, your ears hear as supposed to hear. You experience the world as you're supposed to experience because you are Brahma. You are that. That is. And only that is. And all other forms of vidya are avidyas. Because you are not seeing through the eyes of Brahma, Triyambak. You're not experiencing as Brahma, but you are experiencing through avidya, not through vidya. So do you need a guide? Do you need somebody to tell you? Do you need to go to someone? Do you need to leave your house? Do you need to wear a certain dress, become a sadhu, put rudraksh? Do you need to practice siddhas and all kind of siddhis and tantric mastery? Think about it. You are Brahm experiencing itself. You and that are one. There is no second. Every attempt is an attempt in futility, in death, in destruction. Because your body never dies. The truth, Sat, is Amrit, is immortal. It's neither born, neither dies. It is, which means that the time, the psychological time of yesterday, today, and tomorrow does not exist. Only the is. And the examples we give of Turiya, waking, dreaming, deep sleep, and the fourth state, which encompasses all. It's just an example. Don't take it seriously. Differentiate the shadow from light. This world in which you live, you struggle, you suffer, you are blessed with happiness. This is, it exists in the isness of is. All you're running around, reading of Gita, reading of Upanishads, Bible, Quran, practice, going to masjid, going to church, temples, everything exists in this is, not in any other state. They don't belong to the shadows, the dark aspects. Don't be the part of dismembering that this is waking state, this is the dream state, this is a dreamless state. There is a combined or a transcending state called Turiya. No? Don't divide, don't dismember. This is avidya. Sat cannot be dismembered, and so can only be experienced, but cannot be spoken of. सारे वचनों के पार अवचनीय है. So just think for a while. Think along. Who can lead you to yourself? Can the Guru lead you to yourself? Can a text or a book lead you to yourself? No, only the openness of that can awaken you. It's undescribable how avidya ceases and vidya takes or is born. Because vidya is always there. It is avidya which is false. No practice is going to create this turn. In fact, when we use language, we have to use, the language of avidya to explain, because that's how language has become. And that is why it is very shocking, even to us sages of the Upanishads and the Vedas. Because it cannot be expressed. If I say, as an example, aga, baga, buga, pu, does it make sense to you? It doesn't. How can one express that Brahm is experiencing itself through you? That your body is, that tree is your body, that river is your body, the stars are your body, the moon is your body, including the rocket that you're firing, that missile that you're throwing at your enemy, that enemy who's arming day and night to destroy you. And that is where the value of the Vedas matter. It is worth dying for that reservoir of knowledge. It is what sends you to the forest in search of truth. And it is worth defending that reservoir of language. But you have to burn and die and use that language as fuel. Once you die, language dies, Vedas die, and you awaken to the true Veda that the Rishi experienced. And because you're experiencing it, you know that the Rishi experienced the same. They were not lying. They were not imagining. They were not messengers of God, some angels, some aliens, some extraterrestrial intelligence, non-human intelligence. Non-human, right? They're not human. Coming and telling you how you have to live. What is their plan for next 10,000 years? What is stored for you after death? They don't speak about life. These messengers don't even know an ABCD of life. Believe me. Once you awaken, and the Vedantic language has to saturate you. And what is it? It is not this, not this, not this, not this. When you eliminate everything and you remain in that silence, something may happen. It's very difficult to know. It may not happen. But once it happens, once you awaken to your true body, then you realize that this, that person, that tree, that river, this air, the moon, the sun, the stars, the heavens, they are your body. It all exists within that, and that is you. You don't need any certificates from anyone. That is why every Brahman becomes Brahman or is qualified, or before he performs a yajna, he says Subramanyam. Subramanya means I am that auspicious Brahman. Only that gives you the authority to perform the yajnas, to teach, because otherwise you will be teaching avidya, you will be spreading avidya everywhere, corrupting every child's mind. Can any teacher today of any school, any college, any university tell this to himself before he kindles a child's mind that so Brahmanyam, I am the auspicious Brahman, and from there I start. There I build you. There I awaken you to this world. That language has to come back. It has to be reclaimed. Only that reclaiming will save the rivers, save the air, and save you and everything else. Go and reclaim, and this fight, this struggle to reclaim it is worth dying for. The Vedas are worth dying for. I'll end it with this today. See you. We'll continue next time.